Welcome to the Tom Matt Show. You are walking through the front door of the retirement zone. And now, your host, Tom Matt.
Welcome everybody to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. Last week, Dr. Avellino was back, Performance Living Innovations, which is going to be a giant topic because medical technology in general, but then when you blend in all the AI stuff that's coming along with technology to help with and facilitate for you all of your healthcare, amazing show. We'll be doing a lot of episodes on that because it's changing so fast. All of this technology that's coming into play is going to affect every industry that's out there, including what we're going to do today with our reality of real estate. If I say reality of real estate, that means that this guy's coming on here in a second. Brock Fletcher, married to Katie, Jenna, doing her graduate program, I think now, and just all kinds of good stuff. Originally from Eaton Rapids, go Greyhounds, graduated 1990 something. We won't say
1995.
Yeah, I got you here, man. But the whole thing with Brock Fletcher, the reality of real estate is so important for us. All of our topics are very, very important, but we do the reality of real estate because that is your biggest purchase guaranteed in your life will be something along the lines with the real estate. And it's so important to get the facts, to get the right people behind you, the people that you can trust. Brock's been involved with real estate and vacant land purchases for a long time, 20 years, starting in land surveying and then moving into real estate. He owned and worked for Thistledew Properties for 8 years back in the day. In September 2010, he moved to Keller Williams Realty, and the rest is history. Because that's where he started picking up all of the tips from all of those experts at Keller Williams. And let me tell you, they've helped us buy and sell a couple of houses. You guys have heard these stories a bunch of times with me. Today, we got a special one going with you if you're not watching on video. But we have Caleb Coley with us today, a third-year player at Michigan State University and an intern with Brock. He's a senior at Michigan State academically, and we'll be talking to him about what is important for our young people because Brock and I talk about this a lot. It's so vitally important. And of course, we'll talk about real estate concerns and what are the top concerns out there. But without much further ado, you know how we do this, everybody. We do the This Is Your Life. I've got two guests today, Brock and Caleb Coley. So first, Brock, how's your life? What's going on? Go ahead, get warmed up.
I mean, life is great. Now, by the time this broadcast will be later, but today is my 16th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. September 6th was our anniversary. And so that's great. And then our daughter is at grad school at Grand Valley for speech pathology, and she's doing really well. And I got no complaints. Life is really good, and our team's doing really good.
Jenna is doing some really amazing things. It's too bad we didn't have her program at Michigan State, but hey, at least she did her undergraduate work as a Spartan, and got her degree and got to wear that green gown, which is so important and so important for our students to do. And we support the students in many, many different ways. Our special guest today is Caleb Coley. Now I'm going to let Brock do the intro on all of this stuff because give us a little more time in this segment to talk about these things. Brock, why don't you go ahead and talk about first the program. We've talked about this before, but we hadn't had one of your interns yet. Go ahead, please introduce Caleb and your programming and what it's all about, and take it from there, would you please?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, Caleb who's sitting next to me right now. He's our longest tenured intern. The internship program with Michigan State is 3 years old. Caleb has been with us the whole time. This was his third summer with us. Caleb has actually been through the real estate course and passed the course. And who knows, maybe once he's done with school or done playing or whatever, he may consider, a career in real estate in some capacity. But, Caleb's one of my favorite. I mean, he's probably my favorite intern. I love all the interns, but Caleb and I are probably, he's probably the closest intern to me. We've developed a friendship. Caleb has invited me to church. I've been to church with him. He's spent time, he's been over to the house. He's met Katie. He's met Jenna.
Wonderful.
He's a great person. He's an incredible athlete and a great student, great man of the Lord. He's very passionate about Jesus Christ and being a great person. And Caleb brings a lot of fun to the team. And, kind of how this all came about, Darian Harris. Darian was the one that kind of proposed the internship idea. And, this is the third year of it, and it's grown a little bit more each year. And as much as it's something that we put no real planning into, in terms of like, there's very little structure behind it, right? It's very much, here's a need, here's a desire, and let's just see what goes. It's blossomed into something pretty cool. So Caleb, is there time for Caleb to talk a little bit about himself?
Oh yeah. We got plenty of time here. We got about 4 minutes to go before we go to break here. Let me reset this real quick, everybody. Sure. We're doing a real estate show today, everybody. Reality of real estate. Changed the title at the last second to relationships, because we want to talk about why it's important with relationships in real estate, and for the interns to come in, like Caleb Coley, who is our special guest today. Caleb, thank you for doing the show today. And you and Brock obviously are very close, so I'm glad that you guys have the opportunity to work together. Talk about yourself a little bit. You've got a few minutes here. Talk about your journey into higher ed, like I told you in pre-show that I do with students. Go right ahead.
Yeah, so you spoke about relationships. So I'm originally from Warner Robins, Georgia, and that is, as you can tell, far from Michigan. So coming up here, being so far from home, something that was extremely important was that I was locked in with the community, and I started building relationships with those around me. And that is something that helped me feel more comfortable in myself, just having people that I can rely on and depend on as friends and mentors. And that's where Brock comes in, because he leads me in so many ways. And this internship has been more impactful than I could have ever imagined. Because usually you think an internship, you're just learning about like the job and what all that entails. But with this internship, you're learning about what it is to be a man, on what it is to be a loving father, just learning things from him like that. And also just being able to bridge the gap between competing on the field and competing in life, and being able to realize that competing on the field is good, but if you're only competing on the field and you're not competing in other aspects of life, it can't get you too far, because the sport will end and life will begin, and you got to be prepared for that. And that's what I've learned, plus more at this internship.
Obviously, your maturation is solid. I mean, you speak very, very well. Brock, you've done obviously a very good job. My question to you, and I only got a couple minutes to go here before we go to break here, you guys, but Sandy and I, my wife, we were close, and still when we see him around, another Georgia peach, Darquez Denard, that we knew. Are you close with Darquez?
Yeah, I'm very close. That's actually my cousin.
Oh, no kidding.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
no kidding. All right. You learn something new every day.
Great guy. I mean, we met him when he was a freshman, and we sat with him at the banquet, and it was an amazing journey to see him flourish and become what he is. So what is it about Georgia? It's a long ways for you to come to school as an 18-year-old there, young man. So that had to be tough. Give me a quick answer, because I only got about a minute to go here, but how hard was it for you?
It wasn't that difficult, because wherever I go, Christ goes with me. So I'm able to find peace and comfort regardless of the location. So
your confidence has grown out of your faith, and I really appreciate that. And I'm so glad that you're connected to my very good friend, Brock. Brock and I are super tight. We've gone way back. It's all about the trust and the relationships. It's part of our marketing with Brock, is just saying, hey, Brock gave me some advice years ago, many years ago, when I didn't even know who he was. And I've shared this story, and he helped me and helped my wife and helped my family. And he's the guy. I mean, that's the whole reason why we are doing what we do now. And I'm going to close this segment with saying this. Real estate, reality of real estate is where it's at. Relationships are everything. Trust is everything. Our guest today, Brock Fletcher, my kingpin, and Caleb Coley. I'm Tom Matt, and this is The Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. Second segment, it, of course, is sponsored by another kingpin. I'm surrounded by kingpins. I'm so fortunate and so grateful to have all these kingpins in my life. Craig Stiles, Ameriprise Financial, where they hold all of our retirement zone savings, all of it, the whole pile, our pile that we saved for many, many years is with Ameriprise. And I hope that not only will you utilize Ameriprise, but you'll utilize Brock, our guest today with Caleb Coley. Your Ameriprise financial advisor and ours is Craig Stiles, and he can help you plan for the life you want today and well into the future. Call Craig 1-800-528-1355. His local number is 517-483-4893. Craig.stiles@ampf.com. His offices are located at 2651 Coolidge Road, Suite 103, East Lansing, Michigan, 48823. Remember, all of our sponsors and links are on our homepage, the first of our homepage, TomMattShow.com. At the bottom, you can click right through. Away you go. You can go to Reality Real Estate. You can listen to all those 20 other episodes that Brock has done with us. All that stuff is there. Stations that have carry us now. Michigan Talk Network, of course, is our syndication. WJIM 1240 AM in Lansing, Michigan is the flagship of the Michigan Talk Network. And we're very grateful to Steve and Ivy Gruber for carrying us for many, many years now on their syndication. WGHN 92.1 in Grand Haven was the first to ever carry us on broadcast radio. WJRW 1340 AM in Grand Rapids carried us when we were just newbies in radio. WKLQ 1490 Muskegon, Whitehall, WYPV FM 94.5 way up north in Mackinac City, where Brock heard us, and we did that testimonial for his friend who heard us, and Brock was like all excited, and that's how things started rolling. It's just crazy how things work out. And then, of course, we have our PBS affiliate at Michigan State University. Go Green, AM 870, WKAR, simulcast 102.3 FM on Sundays at 5. Thanks again to Craig Stiles for creating Decideri Analytics, his proprietary algorithm where we are making light of weighted decisions. Such a great algorithm. He allowed Anya Gerstenberg, former student at Michigan State University, for her senior cognate as a computer science kid to do an analyzation on Decideri Analytics and his algorithm, and she got a 4 on the whole thing. It was that good. Again, thank you to Craig. Thank you to everyone who supports us, and away we go. Okay, today, relationships, of real estate. Got a special show here. I didn't even know this was going to happen until I turned on our video here with Brock Fletcher, my brother from another mother. We've got a son from another mother. Caleb Coley's with us, and we're going to talk about all of the things that are happening, why Brock is doing this 3-year program and continuing to do this 3-year program. So, Brock, let's step in the time machine just a tad and talk about, you mentioned a little bit in the first segment about your dream of helping. You've been such a huge donor with Darian Harris, with an Ashton Henderson, at Michigan State University. But step it back a little bit and how you said this was really loosey-goosey and it was kind of a spontaneous thing for you. There was no planning. It was just like you wanted to do this. Can you talk about that? And then we'll let Caleb continue the conversation about how it's helped him. Go right ahead, please.
Well, like a lot of special things in life, they come out of left field where you don't know they're going to come from. So I make no excuses. I'm a big Michigan State fan. I have been since I was born. And for a number of years, I've gone to this fantasy football camp. And it's just for old people to go play football and run around on the field, and kind of live out youthful dreams, if you will. And I had done that 6, 7, 8 years in a row. And then Darian Harris sends out an email saying we're looking for internship opportunities for our student athletes. And I immediately thought, well, I have a real estate team. I don't know. I just responded and said, I'm not sure what you're looking for, but I have a real estate team. I would consider having an intern. And he said, okay, come in. Let's talk about it. I met with Darian. He said, let me email the team and see how many people would even want to do it, would be interested. And then he said, okay, looks like it's going to be quite a few people interested. So he said, can you come over to the university It was one evening we met like in the team meeting video room, whatever. There's like probably like 50, 30, 40, maybe 50 student athletes that came to that initial meeting. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't possibly hire this many interns. But I did make a commitment. I said, if you're here and if you want to go through the interview process to have your first series of professional interviews, I'm happy to honor all of your time with that. And so I gave out my cell phone number. I said, text me if you're interested in interviewing further. I think we had 10, 11 interviews, and I have a hard time saying no to people. So I think we hired like 9 or whatever. But really in that first group that Caleb was part of, there was about 4 guys that really participated at a high level. Kendall Brooks, Trey Mosley, Evan Morris, and Caleb Coley.
Solid.
And so, Caleb was like, I'm gonna joke. You're like kind of a baby at that time. I mean, Caleb was like 17 or 18 years of age when he sat with me on that first interview.
That was really smart of you, Caleb, to do that early in your academic career, because I'm around students all the time, and I know a lot of students who wait until their junior or senior year to start even investigating an opportunity like this. So Brock came along when you were just a newbie, 17 years old. I mean, see, people don't understand. When you guys come to college, men and women, when you come into college, you're young. I mean, you're just out of high school. So what has happened for you? I got a couple minutes to go before we go to break here. What has impacted you? We'll finish this thread when we come back, because we're going to talk about this a lot. What has impacted you the most at this point? Just come up with something that you are grateful to Brock for this internship the last 3 years. What's the one thing that you've learned?
I've learned how to speak to people, because as we would go to these different houses, I would be having to interact with strangers. And I had got so comfortable being back home, knowing everybody, that like I was just used to talking to people I know. And then coming up here, everything's new, being able to go door to door with Brock and like go to these houses and these appointments. I was able to see him interact with people and then learn how to interact with people, because that's something that is learned. It doesn't always just happen natural. Like sometimes you just got to learn how to speak to people.
That's such a solid point. I'm glad you came up with, because so much is the interpersonal skills, Brock, that our students, our student athletes, and just our students in general, they need our help so much with this. I see it all the time. And that's why I love doing this kind of promotional stuff for you. I'm going to carry this through, guys, because we're going to come up on break here, and I got about 10 seconds to go. But again, we're going to continue that, because I want you to think about during break here, Caleb, some of the other things that you've learned from Brock and what you can help younger students that are coming up, why they may want to join Brock's team, why you may stick with Brock's team if after your time and making some money in the professional level. I mean, because frankly, I know that's the plan for you, but you got to have a career, a business career. And so we'll see. But that's it for now. We'll take this break here. You're listening to Tom Matt Show. Relationships, reality or real estate. Brock is here. Caleb Coley's here. And I'm Tom Matt.
Thank you again to our Segment 2 sponsor, Craig Stiles of Ameriprise Financial. For more information on services provided by Craig, please visit ameripriseadvisors.com/Craig.Stiles or by calling 517-483-4893. You're tuned in to The Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. Third segment sponsored by Jamie White Law PLLC, where justice meets compassion. What a great tagline. I mean, where justice meets compassion. When you need to get a lawyer, usually probably 100% of the time, maybe 99% of the time, there's stress involved, okay? You need to find people that need to give you that empathy and that compassion. White Law can do that for you. They are the bomb. They are your advocate in time of need. They've been with us for a year now. They're just awesome. You want to go. They're there to listen, support, and fight for what you deserve, as they should, as all of our sponsors do, as Brock does, as Craig does, and Jamie does. They are all there for you where justice meets compassion. Please contact White Law today for your free consultation. whitelawpllc.com. You can do it that way. whitelawpllc.com. You can call 517-777-9785. They've got a great website, pretty close to as nice as Brock's website. But I'm telling you, a lot of energy, a lot of marketing, a lot of thought goes into our digital footprints. All of our sponsors do a great job with this stuff because they realize how important it is for the marketing side of things. That is the message. And again, thank you to White Law for sponsoring the Mad Dog Minutes, which we do 3 times a week with Dave DeMarco, and putting up his little 1-minute clips on sports throughout the day. You can listen to those things. Go watch it on our YouTube channel, TomMattShow.com. You can find them there. Okay. Relationships, reality of real estate. Brock Fletcher's here. So is Caleb Coley. I'm so happy to have Caleb with us because I love talking to students, and as Brock does, and helping people understand. And again, happy anniversary to Katie and Brock for their 16th anniversary. All right, so we're going to go to you, Caleb, go back to you talking. The first thing I asked you last segment was the number one thing you've learned working with Brock was your interpersonal skills, talking to people, getting in front, not having that fear, and all of those types of things. With cell phones, with technology, our Gen Z children, kids, no disrespect to anybody because I have a couple myself. You need to understand that you guys are so good on the phones, but the interpersonal skills are where you're lacking a little bit. Can you talk about that a little bit, how we can help your experiences, some of the other things that you've gone through? Please talk about that a little bit. I didn't give you enough time to kind of expand on that, but what do you think is, there's positives and there's negatives when it comes to all of this. Go ahead, please share your knowledge and what your feelings are.
Yeah, I definitely feel like social media and all of that stuff, it can be impactful because it can help you reach people that you wouldn't be able to reach without a phone. However, I do believe that spending so much time on technology and not interacting with people face to face can damage your communication skills. So when it comes to actually speaking to people, you'll lack that ability to be able to read like the room, read them, and read the body language because you're so used to a screen. And then the screen, like with your phone, you get what you want when you want it. But like with the person, like it just doesn't work that way.
It's so flat. That's the thing about, text messaging. People get excited about it. Brock, I know. The one thing about Brock that I've learned, and I share this all the time, Caleb, is Brock changes his voicemail every day. And being a former telecom professional, and always will be, of course, it's like very few people take that time and energy to do those little tiny things like that. Brock, talk about that, please, because that feeds into what Caleb was just saying with the screen, but you want to make it more personal. So you make that touch point more valuable to people when you change your greeting every day, and you let people know when your meetings are, when you're returning calls, all those things. Great tips. I'm sure you transfer this over to your students. Go right ahead, Brock. Please talk about that.
Yeah, I learned probably a decade ago to change my voicemail every day to let people know when I would be returning phone calls. The main reason I do that is so that people understand when they call me, they know when they can expect to hear back, and they don't feel the need to call me multiple times over and over again, being concerned that I won't return the communication. So, it's one of those things where as long as you do what you say you're going to do, when you're going to return the calls, then people feel confident, that you're going to respond professionally. The other thing that in terms of on the same thread of terms of interpersonal communication, I think all important conversations should be on the phone or in person. So like if you're delivering very important information, it should not be through a text message, right? You can't hear tone, you can't hear context, right? If you've got bad news to give somebody on a real estate transaction, you need to call, and you need to be as quick as you can. Hey, I'm so sorry, I'm delivering this bad information, but bad news does not get better with age, right? Let's get it right out there. Same thing with great news. Hey, I've got great news. I wanted to get it to you immediately. So, and I hear a lot of people say, oh, I tried to call one time and they didn't respond, or they prefer text. I never have a problem getting people on the phone because I will call and call and call and call until they call me back. I don't accept when people say to me, I couldn't get them on the phone, that you just didn't call enough. I will call you until you call me back. I will not accept a text message or an email when a conversation is 100% necessary.
Caleb, what do you think about that? On the video where I can see you smiling. On radio, you can't see you smiling. But I'm going to tell the listeners of the radio show, Caleb's got a big smile on his face. What's your take on that? What he was just saying?
I just thought that was baller. Like, that was a legit statement. If a call's necessary, you got to call them. You
got to stick with it, man. It's like it's so important, especially when you're busy. People are so busy nowadays that you got to have good time management skills. And I want to kind of start that thread here. We got about 3 minutes to go before we go to break. But Caleb, is a student athlete. Time management is absolutely imperative for your success. And so talk about that a little bit, what the kind of the responsibilities and expectations from Brock, but also your responsibilities with your program, with your academic side of things. Give that a couple of seconds, talk about that. How hard is that for you?
It's difficult. It's definitely something that you have to learn, because right now I'm in 18 credits. I'm taking 6 classes, but I also have football practice, and then like we have football worksheets and stuff. So you really have to set up a schedule and plan out how your week is going to go, and not bend and move to that schedule, because next thing you know, you're behind, and getting behind in college is hard to catch back up. But I learned that you need a schedule, and yeah, it's a lot. I don't have time.
That is the best advice coming from a student athlete. That is the best advice, because I was a non-traditional at Michigan State as a older guy, undergrad and graduate work in my 40s. And the one thing I learned, and I've told students, is I've written articles and then chapters in my books about this, Caleb. Never get behind. You just heard it from a student athlete. I mean, there's just no way. Brock, how do you try to, I mean, you just said about making the phone calls and that due diligence. How do you inspire these kids? Give me a minute response on this. How do you inspire your interns to be very diligent with the work? And even though it could be long and fatiguing, how do you continue to get them fired up?
I try to bring a lot of energy. I think I have more energy than most 47-year-olds. I show up how I expect other people to show up. I bring the energy. I bring the heat. I like to be challenged. I like to challenge myself. I bring my authentic self, and I never ask people to do something I'm not willing to do.
Great answer. And with that, I'm going to close this segment for everybody. Let me reset this thing. Reality of real estate, everybody. If I say that, it means Brock is here, my talent. He is the subject matter expert for the reality of real estate. And we're blessed to have Caleb Coley with us today. These performers are amazing, and what they're doing with Brock, learning and all of the tips. Again, reality of real estate, relationships. Brock Fletcher, Caleb Coley. I'm Tom Matt, and this is the Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to our segment 3 sponsor, White Law PLLC, where justice meets compassion. White Law is your advocate in times of need. We are here to listen, support, and fight for what you deserve. Contact White Law today for your free consultation. Visit us at whitelawpllc.com or call 517-777-9785.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Tom Matt Show. Fourth segment is sponsored by my guest today, Brock Fletcher. Been with us for a long time. 21st time on the radio program. Selling team of Keller Williams Realty. The key word, trust. Remember the little story I've shared with you many times, but because we have all these new listeners and the podcast going on. My former next door neighbor came to me several years ago. He needed some advice on real estate. He got a job offer. He needed to go quickly. Told me how much he was looking to get for his home. And I'm not a realtor. And I'm like, but we had just gone through Little House Lansing purchase. And I'm like, you know what, Mike, I think your number's off. I think you need to talk to Brock, because Brock will tell you the straight story. Just like Brock told me the straight story with Big Household. I had no idea what the market value was for this. Of course, I'm thinking, I'm going to get this for it, blah, blah, blah. Well, my neighbor was the opposite of that. He was lowballing himself because he was in a hurry. He wanted to get it done, like now. We got to go. I got this sweet job. Next thing I know, I didn't even know that he called Brock. I had no idea. Next thing I know, a few days later, there's a sign in the front yard from Brock. And about a week later, the house was sold. And this is an absolute fact, everybody. Got $20,000 over what Mike came into my living room and asked and said, I actually thought I wanted to buy the house because he was lowballing it. I called Brock on it myself and said, should I buy this house at this low price? And, I had to take advantage of my friend, but and that was another good advice that Brock gave me for another story. Don't do it. But he got Mike $20,000 over what he was trying to get. Call Brock today. 517-853-6408 is the office number. The super secret, not so super secret number that we're just talking about, he changes his voicemail, is this number. 517, write this down, everybody. 517-303-3262. 3262. Go online to kwsellingteam.com. Online, kwsellingteam.com. Sell your home without hassles. Remember, Brock invests thousands of dollars in his marketing, from his programming that he does for his customers, his customer appreciation stuff, to all of the radio stuff that we do here, because he does this as an investment before he gets your listing. Not like a lot of agents out there that are just, well, let's just say they're not Brock's caliber. Okay, we'll just leave it there. All right, you know what I'm saying? You get what you pay for when you do this kind of thing. Brock Fletcher's our guy. We love him. He's the best. Call him again. 517-303-3262. All right, I'm going to throw a quick one here, a testimonial, and I'd like to get Caleb Coley's in with us too. Third-year player for Michigan State, student, fourth year, carrying 18 credits. When I hear a student saying that, I'm like, and he's a baller, it's like, man, that's grinding. And he's got his internship with Brock. Go, man, go. You're going to be a successful cat. All right, here's one for you. This is a testimonial right off the website. Brock Fletcher and the selling team have been absolutely stellar. You have our business for life. Jeff and Tammy from DeWitt. I would like to get Caleb. I'd like to get your response to that testimonial. What do you think about that? Is that surprising?
No, it's not, because Brock and the team are legit. Like, this is what they do. So to me, this is nothing new. I expect everyone to respond like that.
Boom! Brock, when you hear a testimony and then you hear your intern relaying, and he's been with you for 3 years, so this isn't just him blowing sunshine up your butt. He has actually been there. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. What do you think about that, Brock, when you hear stuff like that?
Well, I mean, it makes me feel good, first and foremost, but like we talk about it all the time on our team. The client experience, nothing matters more than the client experience. So everything we talk about, everything we do, everything we invest in, like literally it is what we are. We are striving to provide a 5-star experience at every turn. And like anything else, like any organization, you are what you do, you are what you talk about, you are what you focus on all the time. And so we are really obsessed about providing a 5-star experience. And we're not perfect. There are some times where things go wrong, but we do our very best to make sure that if something does go wrong, that we get it corrected, that we get it fixed, and that the rest of it is an awesome experience.
Well, if you don't learn from your mistakes, because mistakes will happen, just like with in ball, football, sport, any kind of sports, those types of things, you want to move past that last play. You want to move past that. You want to make the adjustment. You want to learn from that mistake, and then you want to move forward. That's the way you do business. Caleb, let's talk a little football. What would you like to tell the listeners out there? We don't have a lot of time and we don't do a lot of sports here, but what would you like to talk about for the Michigan State University program that you know now? You've been around for a bit. So what's your impression?
It's a very cultural rich school, and the new staff that we have, they've come with a lot of firepower. They're very legit, very loving. The whole energy around the team is good. It feels like one big family, and I love it.
So when you say things like that, what, sometimes it's like one or two things that you see with the coaching staff because you went through some tough times. What were some of the impactful moments that you can relate to? Because it just doesn't like they come in and like share the love and you're like, oh, I'm feeling the love. No. Give me an example of what and why you feel that way.
I got you. So the biggest example is we have 115 players on our team. So it's kind of hard to know everybody on the team, especially if you don't try. One thing that our staff did is as soon as they came in, we played this game called the name game where you had to know everybody's name. So then people are taking time out of their day, spending time with each other, trying to know their name, but not only just their name, but their name and where they're from and just like facts about them. And that got us closer extremely fast because my freshman and sophomore year, I could only name my position group and my friends, but now I can name everybody on the team.
Wonderful. That's such a great idea. Brock, what do you think about that?
I think it's great. And I haven't had the pleasure of really meeting any of the new coaches per se, but we have like nine interns from the team, and all of our student athletes have basically said the same thing, that this coaching staff, like they're relationship driven, and they're first and foremost like just good people, right? They're just good people, good relations, and I'm just hearing that the chemistry is very good. And everybody's saying the same thing. So
solid. Thank you for saying that, Brock. I want to ask you, Caleb, you're a man of faith. How much is your faith responsible for your success?
100%.
Now, legitimately, I mean, because people will say that, 100%. Legitimately, is that accurate?
It's legit because your mind, like if your mind is not in the right place, you will not be successful. And my mind is set on Christ, so Christ is leading me. That's the one that's guiding my steps. So 100%, yes, sir.
So it's the trust factor. It's like we talk when we do Brock's, I don't call them reads, I call them our sponsor moments. But one of the key words with Brock, and you've kind of illustrated this, is trust. I mean, Brock, talk about trust and why people need to understand in real estate why trust is so important.
Well, trust is everything, everywhere. If you have it, you're safe. If you don't have it, you're in danger, right? And Caleb is one of the most genuine people I've ever met. His faith in the Lord is 100% legit. His desire to bring Christ to everybody around him is legitimate, including me. Caleb's part of a strong group of young Christian athletes at the university that is really driven on enhancing their relationships with the Lord and doing good works. Many of our interns feel exactly the same way that Caleb does. Ian Thompson, who can't be with us on this, but at some point you'll meet Ian. They're good friends. They both say the same things. We've got many of our teammates are super faithful in terms of their relationship with the Lord and promoting the good work. So, I mean, we're not a real estate company that's trying to be a church or anything like that. It's not like that. It's just we have great people that have relationships with Christ that they're excited to share with other people, and they're excited to help other people enhance their lives. So it's just it really doesn't feel difficult what we're doing because we have great people, right? When you got the right people, everything comes together. That's the bottom line.
Exactly. And I'm going to take this to break, everybody, and reset this thing. Relationships, reality of real estate, Brock Fletcher, Caleb Coley's here. Great stories, talking about consistency. You are what you focus on. Interpersonal communications. You know what? Let's talk a little real estate when we come back, okay? We haven't talked hardly any real estate, and this is the Reality of Real Estate show with Tom Ed.
Thank you again to our segment 4 sponsor, Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the fifth segment, my favorite segment of the show. First off, because not all the radio stations carry this, which you probably think is a little odd. It's just the way radio is, but it's the podcast, and we always seem to have like the final close topic, and you get all of the contact information from our guests, which today is Brock Fletcher and Caleb Coley's joining us as well. It's been a really fun show talking. We haven't talked any real estate, and it's the reality of real estate. We're going to talk about real estate in a second. First, remember, get a hold of us, guess topics, connect with us. TomMattShow.com is the best way to go. Just go to the website, TomMattShow.com. Contact box is there. Send us a note. Boom, you're done. Brock, how would you like people to connect with you? Take your time. They got a listing. I've given out the phone numbers, all that kind of stuff, but go right ahead. Let's plug. Go right ahead, please.
As always, the easiest way to get me is to call or text me on my cell phone. It's 517-303-3262. If you would feel more comfortable to register on our website or something like that, and then have me call you, you can jump on our website, kwsellingteam.com. There's several contact buttons. You can reach out that way. But I do prefer my cell phone. I know that if you call me directly or you text me, I know I'm going to be able to respond, within like a half hour or something like that.
Perfect. And let me say to this as an honest, legitimately, I have sent many, many people to Brock. I have called Brock many, many times, and I know this for a fact. He will get back to you right away. He's always on time. He is Mr. Spontaneity. He is the guy. All right, Caleb, how would you like people to connect with you? What's the magic door? Go ahead.
If you guys want to connect with me, you can do so via my Instagram. It is at Caleb Coley 8.
Caleb Coley 8 on Instagram. And let me give you from coming from a guy who's the oldest guy on this little team right now. A lot of the young people will communicate via direct messaging on Instagram. I do it myself a lot. It's the same as Facebook. It's very similar. So reach out to these student athletes. You want any help with something? If you want some advice, maybe you're an athlete, maybe you have children that are coming up. Get a hold of at Caleb Coley 8 on Instagram. All right, let's talk a little real estate here. Brock, what are the top concerns that are happening right now? And then Caleb, follow up with that after Brock gives his top concerns. What have you noticed as a top concern? So that's actually two questions. One to you, Brock, and a similar question to you, Caleb. Brock, what are the top concerns right now as we're recording this, as we're seeing this? Because you've always been like Mr. Look in the crystal ball guy. You're the guy who said, well, interest rates are going to come down in the fall. Guess what's going to happen here real quick? You've said this in the past. If people don't believe it, go listen to the old podcast. They're all there. Go ahead, Brock. What is the top concern in the real estate market right now people need to be aware of?
Well, so let me share my top concern. My top concern is that people get paralyzed in the face of fear. And I'll say I see it on both sides of the political environment. There's fear on both sides, and I guess here's the message. Regardless of whether your candidate wins or not, life will go on, and real estate must still be a part of your long-term financial net worth plan. And here's the other thing. The Fed controls interest rates, not either political party. And so it really doesn't matter. I mean, it may matter who is elected to you, but that part doesn't actually impact interest rates. So if you have a need or a desire to invest in real estate values are built to go up by 4 to 5% per year. That is happening as we speak. So if you are delaying a real estate purchase, you are just simply waiting for the values to continue to go up and thus become less affordable. Interest rates will probably continue to go down for the next year and a half. It is in your best interest to buy now, even though rates are still like 6.2% on a 30-year fixed, which is lower than it was. It was over 7% earlier this year. However, if you're waiting for rates at or below 5%, that probably won't happen for another year and a half. Buy the house, buy the land, buy whatever you're going to buy, invest in it, be confident. simply refinance when rates come down to 5% or below. But do not let your fear and your concerns stop you from investing in real estate. I'm going to leave it here. Personal responsibility for your financial future does not change regardless of who's in office. If you're in trouble financially and you're waiting for a political party to save you, you will be waiting forever. You have to take personal responsibility for your own situation. If you're living below your means, quit doing that. Start saving money. Start investing your savings in real estate or the stock market for long-term financial success.
Yeah, like Brock said, you control your destiny. So if you wanna be successful, if you want to invest in real estate, you got to do that now, and don't let fear stop you, because prices rise. But right now you can get in, and when the prices do rise and you could sell, it'll be worth even more then. So yeah, you control your destiny. You just got to make the choice.
Caleb, I have a question for you directly. You hear a lot of scuttlebutt in the media, good, bad, indifferent, about young people not being able to afford buying a home. Now, do you see a concern with this with your generation having an issue with that? Is that something that concerns you at this point or not?
This is kind of difficult due to like the NIL era with football. I feel like a lot of my teammates could afford a house. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them could buy these things. So that's the only perspective that I know. So I would say that's not an issue based on the demographic that I'm in due to my sport.
Good answer. Very fair answer, because you're only exposed to what you know. And from what I've understood out there, it's like there's a lot of fear. Brock, is that true? Would you say young people are getting good or bad information, or how do we encourage them to consider this and really focus on that? Because a lot of them are getting themselves mentally, what I'm trying to say is a lot of them are getting themselves locked into this. It's okay to rent for my whole life. That's where I'm going. Because they've rented in college, you've paid your dorm or your apartment fee. Go ahead, Brock.
There's a couple of things that have started happening. So unfortunately, we're at a period of time where parents, I fall in this group, where, although I'm not making this mistake, there are parents that are not promoting home ownership to their children, right? In the past, baby boomers and that generation after, the American dream has been graduate, go to college, or just get a job, buy a home, get married, buy a home, and then have children. Right now, the younger generation is not being encouraged by their parents to invest in real estate as quickly as possible. That's one problem, right? That's the wrong message, right? Secondly, I just came back from a seminar and I learned, Caleb can tell if it's the truth or not. What I was told by this person who did all this research was that the number one attribute of Gen Zs that they want, the number one thing they want is stability. Is that legit? So we've got the Gen Z generation is going to be dynamic, by the way. They already are, but they're going to be the leaders that are going to help overcome, no offense to some of the millennials, but they're going to help us get back on track, right? The Gen Zers are going to get us back on track a little bit.
I agree.
Yep. So here's the thing. If you're a Gen Zer, it is more expensive now than it has been before. However, the ability to save and invest has not changed, right? You've got to save. You've got to put your money away. You've got to live below your means. And no offense to any large coffee corporations, but nobody needs a $10 coffee, right? Starbucks doesn't need to be in business, right? Nobody needs to eat out 5 or 8 or 10 times a week. Buy your groceries, go to Aldi, cook healthy foods at home, right? Live below your means. In the words of Dave Ramsey, live like no other right now so you can live like no other in the future, meaning being financially wealthy. I still live on a budget, right? I live on a budget. I spend no more than $140 a week on groceries. I'm eating out one day a week, right? As a special occurrence with my wife for like a date. So gotta live below your means. That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. Caleb, we're going to wrap the show here, and I got about 30 seconds to go. And I'd love to get a takeaway from you for your first visit to our program. Please give the listeners a takeaway from your experience here this last hour. Go right ahead.
My experience has been delightful. Mr. Tom here asks great questions, and he makes it extremely easy for you to respond to them. And it's just a fun, happy vibe in here. It's been great. I love it. I'd come back.
You know what? Can I hire you too? Or you already got about 14 jobs. I mean,
Caleb's a contagious guy.
He is a kid. I got to meet this guy in person. We're definitely going to have lunch sometime because I do lunches at Brody all the time. But we'll leave it there because I got to wrap this bad boy. We can continue this conversation. Thank you for saying that. It was very kind. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guests, our topics, issues, all these things. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Love yourself first. Do those things. Thank you to Brock Fletcher, Caleb Coley, Sandy Matt, Craig Stiles. We got Jamie White. We got everybody that supports the show. We got all of our listeners. We got all of our fans with us. We'll talk to you next weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media, and our production staff is consisted by Mitch Anderson and my virtual assistant, Vanessa. We're out.
The Tom Matt Show is produced by Mitch Anderson of Black Circle Studios. Original music from the Source of Light and Power by the Ark of All.